Point, the
Oh,
number
oh,
one.
oh, there you go. All right, we're ready.
Welcome to On Point, the number one Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America, live every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. worldwide at David G. Evans 1, at David G. Evans 1 on any smart device. Of course, joining me today for our discussions on politics, culture, and religion, but always from a kingdom point of view, is our executive pastor, Nicholas Smith. How you doing, man?
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, we're doing it here. Lot going on. If you want to talk to us this morning, and we hope that you do, but one of the things we want you to do is share with someone, get them on board with the OnPointe family as we continue to approach and shift the perspectives of those who join us each week through conversations based in the Word of God, hopefully led by the Spirit of God, as we come to some conclusions about the world around us and causes us to get closer to that perfect peace that the Lord has promised us in His Word. I am clear that if He didn't want me to have it, He shouldn't have put it in His Word.
Yeah.
And I believe if He put it in His Word, He wants me to have it. So welcome. 866. Do we have a call in today? We're not calling today.
No, just comments.
Just comments today, not calling in.
Yeah.
Just comments today. And you all are very good at commenting. So comment as we go along in our discussion, and we will be absolutely thankful that you have joined us this morning. Well, I guess we always start out with politics, since that seems to be a hot topic every day of our lives in the last 5 years, 4.5 years, but also we always want to address culture.
Yep.
And of course, being a faith-based talk show, we talk about religion.
Mm-hmm.
I need someone's perspective on why Republicans are telling their constituents you only need to make $8.95 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
How do people who probably have one of the most secure positions as it relates to salary, benefits, health care, perks, reimbursements, influence, authority, access,
Mm-hmm.
tell someone making $10 an hour that that's enough for you?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, tell a millionaire, I'm going to give you a break so you can get a $3 million refund check on your tax return this year.
Mm-hmm.
And that the people that they're telling they've got enough, which is really kind of pissing me off, Pastor Nick.
Yeah.
How's somebody making $200,000 a year, being given millions of dollars by their lobbyists, going to tell me at $35,000 that I'm making enough?
Mm-hmm.
And that if you send me a check for $1,400, I ain't going back to work. If I've been out of work since February and you send me a $1,400 check,
Ain't doing nothing.
all that's going to do is allow me to get some food on the table.
Mm-hmm.
It may allow me to get out of rent trouble by 1 month.
Yep.
Maybe half a mortgage payment.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody's going to stay home for $1,400.
No. They still got that whole thing. Well, I made it. You can make it too. You're not working hard enough. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps kind of mentality.
Okay.
Go ahead. But my thing is, they all got it. Most of them got help. Some of them were on subsidies growing up. So it's like, why would you, go ahead. I'm sorry.
They've forgotten.
Yeah.
Or I know I use this term a lot, but they just simply don't seem to care.
Yeah.
About the very people. And you know what? It's a lack of respect that the voters have created. Because the voters put up with this nonsense. The politicians do these personal things to them. And then they go out and vote for them again.
Yep.
How myopic are we in that they know they can get us hyped up on one subject and we'll ignore our own welfare.
Yep. Yep. I think they know American people's short attention span.
I'm just starting to believe they don't have any attention.
Somebody said a few years back that the American electorate is not the smartest.
Okay.
And I think sometimes we confirm that. If I can say that.
I think we've given the politicians that.
Yeah.
Because in this culture of video, when someone can make a video, be seen by millions, and then come back and say, I didn't say it, and people maybe don't say, okay, he didn't say it, but they act like he didn't say it. There's an issue.
Yep.
And I don't think the sexism has changed much. When you really get down to it, it hasn't changed much at all. So you got this lady that was running for the budget office, right?
Yes.
So they nailing her for 2 or 3 tweets.
Yep.
But the same people that are nailing her approved of all the stuff our previous president wrote.
Yeah.
Never said a word about it.
Yeah. That's what cracks me up about when Biden called the people in Texas Neanderthals.
Yeah, everybody knows what that means.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they're upset about that. But what about all the stuff previous presidents said that was much worse than the Neanderthal comment?
Well, here's the thing: you cannot be offended biblically unless an offense of some type exists in you already.
Yep.
So if I call you a thief, you're not going to be upset.
Yeah.
But if you've been stealing, that offense already exists in you. So, so they know they're acting unintelligently.
Yeah. Yeah. One guy, I can't remember the senator's name. He said, to justify his point, he said, when I was growing up, when I worked for $6 an hour and made it, and somebody said, well, with inflation, based upon the time range, you making $6 an hour back then is like making $24 an hour now. So he was actually making more than
So
the minimum then.
What was his response?
Oh, of course, nothing. Like, still
couldn't say anything.
You can't say nothing. Still, I made it, and it's like what's his name? The guy used to look like the Munsters, the boy of the Munsters.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Paul Ryan.
Okay,
I think it was Paul Ryan. He got a lot of corporate and government funds to help him go to college and all these other things. And then as soon as he got in Congress, guess what he did? Created all those bills to pull all those things back.
Absolutely.
What's his name? The black guy, Ben Carson, lived in government housing growing up.
Yep.
Got into housing. What did he start doing? Start taking all that stuff away.
Just amazing.
Yeah. Now, and he said, well, my mom helped pull us out, but maybe she helped pull you out because she had assistance from the government to be able to help pull y'all out.
And quite honestly, Pastor Nick, having grown up in the projects as a boy and understanding money a little better now, what we got by on then, you couldn't do it now.
Oh no.
And I don't know if this might be leaping, but from a biblical point of view, I don't understand how politics that helps people is socialism.
Yep.
Because what that implies very strongly is that Jesus comes down and represents himself as a socialist. He says, feed the hungry, take care of the prisoners, take care of the sick, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So we call it ministry when it's him, when it's Jesus, but we call it socialism if it's government. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. From what I heard in their mind, the scriptures, this is what I've been told to my face.
Oh, Lord.
The scriptures never mandated the government to feed people. The church and people are supposed to do that.
Okay, so if the church is supposed to be the instrument to feed the people that vote for the politicians, and you can't have a government without people, then they have proof text themselves out of us responsibility. Because Jesus does not make a racial or political or governmental statement.
Yep.
He simply is implying, if you know me, this is the stuff you're supposed to do.
Yep.
Now, the arenas that we dwell in allow us to do it with varying degrees of effectiveness. Small church, large church, even larger organization called the United States government.
Yep.
So what these people are saying You're allowing me to disobey the spirit of God's word because I don't believe that government ought to help people. And if you help people, that's socialist.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus was not a socialist in the way that we think he was.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was socialist if socialist means helping people.
Right. Yep. Yeah. But you know what's crazy? Like for instance, Texas with they wanted to be their power grid to be their own.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted free market and free capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as they got in trouble the past couple weeks ago, all of a sudden we need the federal government to come help us.
Why?
Right. I thought that was socialism.
You didn't want any part of the federal government.
Yeah. Like now all of a sudden you want big government?
It's socialism when I want to deny you something.
Yeah.
But if I need the help, it's not socialism. I'm entitled to it.
Yes.
Well, let's say poor people in this country who are victims of capitalism are entitled to some, because you can't have capitalism without people in power.
Absolutely. You need a working class people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And they never see, like you said, the taxes going up, the tax-free part for the people are higher as socialism. Mm-hmm. I don't know how you call that capitalism, giving them a lot of free loopholes and all the other things, but nothing for the people that need it at the bottom.
You know what was amazing when the thing, what was that GameStop place?
The GameStop, yeah, in AMC, yeah.
The problem with GameStop for the Wall Street people was this. The GameStop folk investors use the same principle
mm-hmm.
to make money that the billionaires have been using forever.
Mm-hmm.
And the billionaires don't mind if working people lose money.
Yep.
But they don't want to lose any themselves. So now they need some regulations.
Yep.
That
mm-hmm.
are only going to apply to working folk, not to the hedge fund managers.
Yep.
The hedge fund managers are going to stay clear.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's the thing that gets me is like they're so public about it now, and they don't care.
It's
before they would hide it.
It's unbridled.
And now they're showing you, this person gave me $5 million, so I'm gonna help them out publicly. And what are you gonna do about it?
And here's the most disgusting part to me. They are denying people assistance in the middle of a plague
mm-hmm.
to make a point.
Yep.
Which shows me at the end of the day, if you can stand in the way of your own people getting assistance
mm-hmm.
in the middle of a plague, continuing unemployment in the middle of a plague,
mm-hmm.
you don't care about the people that vote for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there were 8 Democrats that voted against the minimum wage hike.
Mm-hmm.
One lady came and did the whole John McCain
mm-hmm.
thing from Arizona. Now her thing was, well, let's do it separate from this COVID bill, which usually means there's something in that bill that either they didn't get. So, you know how they are. My thing isn't in there. I'm not going to vote for it.
Well, I think the whole Mention conversation, if that's his last name, I think that Mention conversation is about him getting what he needs. I think the deals have to be made, but the other part is that these Democrats that are dissenting are going to have to look their people in the face and say to those people,
mm-hmm.
I rejected the bill because I didn't like your minimum wage being raised to $15. The reality is that $15 is going to help, Pastor Nick. It's not going to deliver, folks.
Right. Thank you. It's not wealth.
That's not delivering. You're not getting ready to go out and get a $2,000 mortgage making $15 an hour.
Right. No, not at all. But they continue to people into that lie that everybody can be successful in this country. And it's not successful on a large scale. Let me say that. It's not true.
I get it. And if the government thinks, if those people that believe that nonsense that the government should not help folks. So they thought Roosevelt was wrong.
Yeah, some people did, yeah.
Even though it brought the country back?
Yeah, that and the war, yeah.
So soup lines were wrong in their minds?
Right. That the government shouldn't be doing all that. Or maybe the minimum.
Shouldn't be feeding people.
Yeah.
Well, I think this. If they want us to do it,
mm-hmm.
they ought to give us the money to do it.
Yeah, and we'll do it.
If they theoretically just have an issue with helping folk, but they don't have an issue with with churches helping folk, then they need to give us the money to do it. And I mean on a grand scale.
Absolutely.
But they don't want to give us that kind of money, not even their own supporters.
No, not at all. Not at all.
No.
Not at all. I'd much rather be honest and say, look, we just don't want to give you all the money. Because my thing is like this: don't say we don't have the money to do it when you're approving all these packages for missiles.
Come on, man.
For you know what I'm saying, overseas money to different countries.
Come on, man. That's one of my big problems.
Yeah,
you got $1 billion, $1 trillion for 600 individuals in the country, but you have absolutely no money to help people that are hindered by a mishandling of a pandemic during the last year?
Yeah,
almost year and a half now. So it's just it bothers me that it seems that their priorities, their brazenness is what's offending me now.
Yeah. Yep.
Because they're acting like there's no, they're in that chamber and they're acting like there's no television. But they figured out it doesn't matter whether they see it or not. I can lie to them in 2 years about it. You didn't really need that $15. That $15 wasn't going to help you. You can still make it on the $10 that you're making. How are you going to tell a working person that?
Yep. There's no way around it. Another thing too is that if you're talking about the small businesses that are worried about increasing their limits, then why don't we do more to assist them to help them increase their limits? Like, again, if you can give a couple $1 trillion to 600 people, why can't you spread that out a bunch of small businesses?
Because I have a theory called the weed theory. It's the garden theory.
Yeah.
I believe that they believe small businesses go out of business every day, but new ones pop up like weeds in their places.
Yep.
I think that's why they don't make an investment in them like they should.
Yeah.
Since they claim they employ more people than any other situation. But it tells me again, they're not concerned about the people that the small businesses employ.
Yeah.
That whole support for them is a mirage. Anytime small businesses, Ruth Chris.
Yeah.
And you give them $10 million and a guy at the flower store on the corner can't get $30,000. Something's wrong with that.
Absolutely. And we talked about this last week. I think our issue part of the people is responsible for this too, because we don't patronize those small businesses. So they sit there and said that all of our small businesses are going down, and like you look at certain places around here, like Atco, Hamilton, a few other places where you got a whole bunch of strip malls that have no businesses there. Well, if you're driving an extra 30 minutes to go to Walmart and skipping all that stuff in between, of course they're going to go out of business. That's not the government's fault.
Well, I think that Walmart's agenda is to put small businesses out of business and then to hire their people for sub wages.
Yeah. And people say, well, it's cheaper at Home Depot or Lowe's, but the amount of money you spend in gas to go there, rather than going around a corner to the local place, you basically just spent the same amount of money.
It's psychological, and they know it.
Yeah.
They're not making these decisions just kind of randomly. They're having psychiatrists and psychologists analyze the habits of people and say, okay, they'll, even though they're spending more money in gas, time, all the other stuff, they will drive further to come save 3 cents. Yep,
absolutely. That makes sense. I was watching this. History Channel has this series called "The Food That Built America." It is so good, and they talked about the guy that created the Baby Ruth bar.
Okay,
and it talked about how such of a great salesman he was, and he had this guy sit down, try these chocolates out, and he bought a penny chocolate that was everybody bought, and he hyped it up so much that the guy ate it. He said, "Close your eyes and savor it all." He ate it and said, "This is the best chocolate I ever had." And the guy that made Baby Ruth said, I got that from the store that you buy from normally. And the guy was like, because he realized how people think. If I can get them to change their thought process, I can feed them the trash or the same thing and they'll just go along with it.
Yeah, I think, and when I am in the store from time to time, I always pay attention to senior citizens in front of me, just like Ava is remarking in her comments. And there have been, I can't count the times that I've seen somebody struggle.
Yeah.
And it moves me to do something for them.
Yeah.
I don't know how you stand still with ability.
Yep.
And not do what you can do. And that is the same compassion that has become a concept with our government.
Yeah.
Except if it's people that are wealthy and people and companies that they want to influence.
Yeah.
That ultimately impact their wealth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm a capitalist, but I don't like that part of it.
No.
Yeah, I'm a capitalist now, but I don't like that part of it at all.
Yeah. The greed and temptation is too great for people to actually do the right thing.
I think for most people, it can be a problem.
Yeah.
You know, I saw one of our contemporaries this week in trouble because he was overcharging people for certain things, and they found out about it.
Okay.
You know, you can't tell somebody you fly in first class and then fly coach and then pocket the difference.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and I know that's happened because there's some people that are never coming back here that tried to do it to us.
Okay.
You know, tried to get us to pay for. They going from our church to another meeting to another meeting.
Yeah.
And want us to share the cost of their whole travel.
Mm-mm.
No, sister.
Mm-mm.
I pay for you to come here.
Right. Yep.
And if you ain't going home, you're going to Detroit, I'll pay for you to go there. But I ain't paying for you to go to LA, come back. No.
Mm-mm.
You don't, and you don't decide how you're going to spread my money out.
And the sad part is I believe every word, and I can.
Hey, it caused a fallout between us and a couple preachers.
I'm sure.
It caused a fallout.
And my issue is the fallout. So I try to hustle you. I get mad you don't go for it. So I no longer want to talk to you anymore. That how crazy does that sound? That I'm mad at you because you didn't fall for my okie doke, or because they're used to other people they're used to people let them do it.
Have you ever met a liar that wasn't offended when you didn't believe him?
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
That's true.
Well, Thomas Bird said he was a manager with Walmart, and that's definitely their game plan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's their goal. And people fall for it all the time.
Yep. Most people don't know that Walmart doesn't own their buildings. They don't own their the land that they're sitting on.
Okay.
They lease the land for like 75, 85 years.
Yeah. I know a guy who has a Dollar General sitting on his property.
Wow.
Ooh. Good money too. Good money.
Locally?
Somewhere down south.
Yeah, man.
Bought property and they lease it from him.
I know a guy that has a Burger King, a Pancake House, and one other entity sitting on his parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
And they all pay handsomely every month.
I'm sure they do.
Handsomely.
I'm sure. So yeah, I don't think they're going to fight this thing tooth and nail no matter what. The $15 wage hike.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, they're going to fight it.
What they're really doing is responding to the pressure of corporate America, who does not want to pay. Watch this. Does not want to pay something even remotely approaching a living wage.
Yeah.
But yet, I bet you they raise prices in the next year or two, trying to recover whatever they lost during this season. Because I believe Amazon is eating a lot of these standing corporations up.
Tearing them up.
So the only thing they're going to be able to do is improve their online presence and charge more money. Yep.
And I mean, to say, because what's his name? Bezos probably made, easily a couple $1 billion just over this last year alone.
Oh yeah.
And you mean to tell me, I'm not against him make as much money as he wants to, but y'all can't, as Amazon, pay your workers more?
Or get this, or make sure the environment is protected.
Yeah, well, that's the other part too, yeah. Because they don't want to do
that. What about making sure that people are relatively safe when they work in their plant?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's just I find it offensive.
It is offensive.
So all of this has seemed to produce a cultural tension, which is being kind of revealed through music and through relationships and through this racial tension that I can't say that's been revived, but has been uncovered. because I believe politics and culture are connected.
Yeah.
I think the problem, and you can answer this for me. Sometimes I think historically looking at where we are now, that when faith actually gets disconnected from politics and culture, I think the problems that we have start appearing to be insurmountable. When you're not practicing your faith.
Yeah, absolutely.
And think you can be a bona fide Christian, but not at work.
Mm-hmm.
And not have your policies reflect your belief.
Yeah. I think the problem is the interpretation of faith.
Okay.
The faith walk. So this one Southern white preacher made this video, went viral. I can't say the term on here, but in the middle of his message, he was talking about, I don't care if I die COVID, I don't care if I die of heart attack. Basically, we should be able to be open up, be free, do our thing. And he said, all of you guys that are, I'll show you the video. All of you guys who are afraid of opening up, this whole COVID thing, you're a bunch of blanks. And he actually says a very derogatory term
really?
During the sermon.
Really?
Yes. And he said, y'all can post this, show it out there. That's the only word I can come up with.
Since it's on there, who is it?
His name is Keith Craft.
Do I know him?
I don't think you know who he is. I just found out who he was this week. But that mindset of, God called, his premise was, and you're hearing this, we're the sons of God. We're not supposed to be afraid. We're supposed to live in our freedoms. We're supposed to take dominion, have authority. They took this whole dominion message and made it absolutely ludicrous.
It's stupid.
Ludicrous.
Because here's what's happening. What does he say to one family who suffers illness or death? What does he say?
They go back to, well, it must have been God's will then. We went out. His premise was we went out in our freedom. We went out believing God and trusting God. That's foolish to me.
Let me tell you what the problem is for a lot of these guys that are going back. They might have closed the churches, but they didn't close the mortgage companies.
Mm-hmm.
That mortgage came. And there was an unpreparedness, I believe, that was pervasive. Mm-hmm. Anytime 90% of African-American churches didn't have online giving, maybe 70, 80% of them didn't have an online presence because there was the internet, the devil was out there for a long time. Mm-hmm. So when it hit, some of them had to start over and some of them still have not.
Yep.
I was talking to pastors in, started February. I was talking to pastors in June and July who were only doing a prayer during the week and a half an hour conference call on Sundays. And that was supposed to sustain the faith of the people that belong to their churches.
I know some people were thinking that, actually too, let me take this back. Mm-hmm. I think in this season, a lot of the pastors that weren't used to working actually had to start working. Mm-hmm. And it threw them off. Yep. I hate to say it like that. Yep. It just completely threw them off.
Yep.
They had to do more than just preach on Sunday and Wednesday or whatever.
Yeah. I think the dilemma of trying to decide whether to go back to work would make some guys, and I'm going to step out here, who are not called, succumb to the pressure to put the sheep they're supposed to be guarding in danger.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense when Jesus talks about, the Bible talks about us obeying those that have rule over us and adhering to government authority. It's in the Bible. You can't deny it. And then say it's a lack of faith if you obey those governmental rules.
Yeah. Well, that's selective now. During Trump's term, Romans 13:1, obeying government was scripture. But now that he's gone,
it's not scripture anymore.
It's not valid anymore. Yeah.
Okay.
It ain't valid no more. It's only valid when it's something they want. That's the
amazing. Amazing.
Yep. But the conflation of American freedom and our biblical mandate, if I can say it like that, is just, it's almost like they're putting their American rights above their scriptural responsibility.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say almost, it is. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. I think Pat brings up a point, but Pat, that is not their corporate goal. Their corporate goal is that they save untold millions of dollars not buying land. And if you will, renting the right to build on someone else's land. So they can take the millions of dollars that it would have taken to build a store. And as you notice, they've become larger and larger as the years have passed, and gas stations are outside and all other kinds of things. They can take that money, those millions. It probably takes what, $20-30 million to build one of those stores. I would say 20 conservatively. And imagine if you just took what you would have, took the money you would have used to build a store and invested that 20 million like they do. And you've done that thousands of times around the world. That's why they're the environment. They're the air that retail breathes.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes I think there's a myth. I don't know any pastors, and I don't know them all. I don't know any pastors that don't do outreach. I don't know any. I mean, aggressive outreach.
Yeah. Okay.
Now that might have been true back in the day, where in the civil rights movement, there had to be more of a self-contained model. But I think once especially African American church got involved in politics, that forced that caused them to be adopted by the outside. But I also think that now, all the guys I know have progressive outreach.
Yeah. Most of them, I think I sense to.
Yeah. I think the indictment that they just taking care of themselves, that's like a 30, 40, maybe even a 50-year argument. Yeah.
I mean, the black church has always been known for
outreach.
It's what we do.
Yeah. And there were some churches that were more, and I don't call handing out hot dogs twice a year outreach. I don't call having a festival on the corner where you. I don't call that. If that's the only thing you're doing, that's not real outreach.
It's not at all.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll see what happens. They're supposed to vote on the bill. I think it's coming up within the next couple of days, but they're still arguing. One guy had them read the whole 600-page bill to let it to push it out. And if a senator brings it up, we need to read it word by word. They got to sit there and go word by word by word by word.
Yeah. And that's all. It's just a delay tactic.
Yeah.
And I find it unfortunate because they're not. Well, they are. I keep acting like they care. They're not connecting their delays to the continued suffering people. So they don't think that the average person has struggled enough during the past year.
Yeah.
But because they're in a situation where they haven't been that negatively affected by this thing.
Yeah.
They're complaining about wearing a mask. People are complaining about not being able to feed their families.
Yep.
But since they don't miss any meals, they don't know what it's like to be hungry.
It really feels like we're living in a third world country sometimes. That's really what it sounds like.
With dictators that adopt a lifestyle that demand the poverty of the people that follow them. And the people are so inoculated with poverty that they follow the emotional draw of the leader and not what have you really done for me. If I hear one more time that during the Trump years, the economy was great. And then I ask the second question, why do you think it was great? And they say, well, the stock market was doing well. And then I asked the final question. I didn't know you were heavily involved in the stock market.
Mm-hmm.
How well invested are you? Well, I don't have any stocks. Well, then how do you measure the whole economy doing better
Yeah.
when you have no stocks that reflect the stock market is doing better for you? You cannot buy a new home because you're not making enough money.
Yep.
I mean, the list just goes on and on. How do you measure that?
Yeah.
Because somebody told you
Yep.
that it was better.
Mm-hmm. And not realizing the stock market has nothing to do with the economy. They're two separate things. They come on.
It's a very small group that makes their living off of that.
Yeah.
Compared to the population.
Yeah. Yeah. And most people that are in the stocks, they're not making like no $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month. You making $500 to maybe $3,000, $4,000 a month if you're doing it well.
Mm-hmm.
But the average American is not, even if they're in it, is not making crazy money in stocks. Like, come on.
Yeah. If you say you're in the stock market because your retirement vehicle has stocks mixed in with the bonds and whatever else you got going on, and your money goes up, $6 in 1 month. That's not going to cause you to have a party and move out of your neighborhood and buy a new car.
Right. Not at all.
Come on, man.
Come on. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, from what I understand, you got to have a lot of money in it to make a lot of money from it, right?
Absolutely. And I think a lot of times what we hope is that there were a few people in the past that caught hold of a stock, bought it for little or nothing, bought it at the right time, and it exploded.
Yeah.
And they got out before it started to come back down.
Okay.
But that's not a lot of people.
Yeah. No, not at all.
Mm-mm.
Not at all. Not at all. So we'll see.
So what are the people of faith doing right now? How do you think they're handling the fatigue of the pandemic? And here's my question.
Sure, good.
I would like for those people that are with us this morning to tell us how they've gotten closer to God during the pandemic. If they've gotten, and how. If you've gotten closer to God, and how you verify that you've gotten closer to God during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I'd like to see people start commenting on that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure that rather than the Bible calls the tongue an unruly member.
Mm-hmm.
I think that has gone crazy in the last 10 years. It's not just unruly, it's riotous.
Yeah, it is. And social media is exacerbated with, now you can, I say social media is great because it gives people a voice, but it's also horrible because it gives people a voice too. So now you have a bunch of people that probably shouldn't have a platform, have a huge platform for saying a bunch of crazy stuff,
mm-hmm.
and having a whole group of people supporting that foolishness.
Mm-hmm.
But it's almost like an OK Corral now.
Okay.
And it's more viral to catch because people can read it immediately.
Yeah. But then I'm always amazed at the credibility that a lot of people give social media. Mm-hmm. They don't even know the source half the time, and they're believing what these people are saying.
Just because somebody said it.
So is that belief attached to a desire for something internally to be satisfied? So if I latch on to an untruth, say QAnon, I latch onto something.
Yeah.
Is that because it speaks to something within me?
Absolutely. Yep. I want to believe it. Like they said Trump was going to be president March 4th.
Okay.
The QAnon people did. And then there are a bunch of people that went to the Capitol waiting for this inauguration to happen because they want him to be president again so bad.
Did they really go?
They traveled to DC and were outside the Capitol waiting for some inauguration to happen.
So what did they say? Or then they moved the goalpost to the 6th.
Yeah, it keeps moving.
That's a shame.
So we got a prayer and study life, reading Psalms 91. Ava's not spazzing out, so she's getting closer to God.
Good.
Yeah, Sid has a Bible reading streak on a Bible app.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it really is that time for it.
Mm.
Because coming out of it, we're going to come out of like a wilderness into a opportunity.
Yeah.
And we've got to, which is a season. And
Mhm.
we've got to be ready to function. But it's going to take a stronger relationship with God to get there.
Yeah.
Our prayer lives, our stewardship, those things are going to have to be biblical.
Yeah.
You know, our desire to work in the kingdom out of our local church, that's going to have to be present.
Mhm.
Coming out, because we're going to have to come out. I remember back in the day, my grandmother used to saying, "How did you feel when you came running out of the wilderness?"
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I felt like shouting. I felt like praising the Lord, you know, that kind of
Mhm.
thing. Felt like praying. I think that I think we're being positioned. Those of us that understand how God works somewhat is that this time is preparation. It's not isolation like we're processing it. It's preparation.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like an Abraham thing where he says, Abraham believed God and set out for a city built whose builder and maker was God.
Yeah.
He hadn't seen it, but he knew it was there because God said it was.
Yeah.
And he expected his feet to be guided by God to that place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Got stronger prayer life down here.
Yeah. Biblical teaching.
Yep. Starting to study the Bible, not just read it. Okay. Volunteering at food banks.
Yeah. Because
Good.
then if we're not transformed during this season, something we missed something.
Oh,
Yeah, we totally missed something.
I'm about to throw something out to the shepherds at the next meeting that I think is going to cause a little consternation. I think when New Year's comes along, that God is looking for those of us that lead churches to show the next step in the vision for the ministry.
Okay.
But I think when the pastor's anniversary comes along, that's up to the man or woman of God to ask God, how do they develop to the next dimension of excellence?
Okay.
You know, how I think there's been an incongruity. If God is doing something in the church and I'm the leader, I need to stay ahead of the church.
Yeah.
But if the anniversary is just about a celebration and not about a vision casting for, okay, what do I have to do to be ready for what God has shown me is going to happen?
Yeah.
I think the integrity of the date is missed.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because I don't think you should celebrate regression.
Yeah. But I was going to say something. I guess it depends on your perspective. If you are pastoring for your people,
Yep.
or if you're pastoring for a different reason,
Yep.
you know, your day is different.
Some people say importance of intercession,
Yeah.
focusing on the inner walk, studying and praying, seeing God in more things. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people are going to be in this one right here.
What's that? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Chris. Yeah. AZ, that's right. I hear it all the time. I can't wait till we get back. And a lot of that is from people that didn't come much, Pastor Nick.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know why something has to be taken away from us for us to believe that it's precious.
Yep. Unfortunately. See, oops. So I became closer to God by praying and reading the word and asking for prayer. Lost my second job, increased my giving. Now I'm reaping the benefits.
Wow.
That's good.
That's how God works.
Yeah.
Ava says she hears more word now in the house than when I was out. Well, that's because you listen to us all the time, Ava.
Yeah.
Ain't bragging, just fact.
Right. Yeah. But if something's got to grow and transform through this season. It's
If it doesn't, you miss
Yeah,
one of the purposes of it, not the
Yeah.
whole purpose, but one
Yeah.
of the purposes of it.
Yeah, it's yeah, absolutely. So anybody else?
I told y'all before, I stopped asking God when was it going to end after he told me to mind my business.
Yeah.
It's just this is played. One day I'm praying, Lord, when's this thing go in?
Yeah.
I need you to mind your
business, right?
So I was like,
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
Like it was like he telling Job, who are you? In other words,
Yeah.
mind your business.
Mind your business. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this may turn into, what do they call it? Turn from an epidemic to an endemic.
Yeah.
Where they feel like it's going to be with us for a long time, but just not be as strong and as,
Well, I
dangerous.
would hope, but, and I'm not trying to be too strong, but I think I need to make an emphasis.
Okay.
I hoped that people like Texas and Alabama and Mississippi and Montana and Iowa, who have seen just a glimpse of daylight,
Mm-hmm.
and who are still trying to impress an administration that is passed. How do you correlate people dying in your state to success as a governor?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you explain that as a governor? Well, I thought the guy in Florida should have been impeached as governor.
Mm-hmm. If this thing goes through, he might just be.
Okay.
Because to the Texas guy, the Texas governor, this is what he said, and I quote, this is what tweet he put out.
Okay.
So after he opened up Texas, he said that the Biden administration needs to get cracked down hard on immigration because all these Mexicans are crossing over the border and bringing COVID with them.
Okay.
So now he's blaming the numbers of COVID on Mexicans coming over when they ain't got nothing to do with that. But again, when in doubt, blame black and brown people.
Yeah.
To justify a point.
It doesn't make any sense.
COVID is crazy in Texas because they act, literally people that go there say they act like it's just not even going on.
When I saw the pictures of the people in Miami this morning from yesterday and how they were partying and masked up dancing on the beach and, in the clubs, shoulder to shoulder, no mask, no nothing. Just my concern is this. If you don't care about yourself, you have a right not to care about you.
Yep.
But I don't think you have a right to go back home and give it to your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your aunt, your uncles. I don't think you have a right to take it back with you.
Yep.
So if you're not thinking of yourself, don't you love other people enough not to?
Yeah.
Does your mom and dad have to be laying up in the hospital fighting for their lives before you say, this thing is real? Because when other people's parents have died, you've not been inspired.
Yep.
It grates my nerves.
Yeah. The America is built on individualism and it's tearing us up, and it always has been.
Yeah.
Other countries that are more communal, like New Zealand, all those places, China, they wear a mask if they feel a cold come on. They wear a mask not for them, but for everybody else. It's just a normal thing for them. When
I was in Japan and I was on the bullet train going from Tokyo to, I believe, Kyoto. And they, of course, on the train, they have stewards and they bring you stuff, and the train's hurtling all along at like 190 miles an hour. And you're sitting there, and I noticed 2 or 3 people with masks on. So I asked, can you tell me what the masks are all about? Yeah. And that's someone with a cold that does not want to take a chance on spreading it to people on the train. Cold.
Yeah, cold.
We have something going on that's killing people over here and can't convince them.
Yep. They say down south is off the hook. They literally act like it doesn't exist. No mask, just.
So how many people have to die down there?
That's why I think it's so high down there. But some of the businesses in Texas are saying, we don't care what the governor says. If you're gonna come in here, you got to wear a mask, and they're holding on to their policy.
Well, they better.
Yeah. But and we wonder why stuff is not changing, getting any better.
Some people are saying they've learned to trust God more. They have to. But now you're going to have Texas. Texas is going to be way out of control.
Yeah.
Alabama. And I mean, the governor, no disrespect intended, when he made the announcement the other day, I happened to be watching the television. He doesn't look like he feels well.
Mm.
He looks like something's wrong. I'm looking in his eyes like, this guy's not rational.
Yeah.
But then I wonder how many people are going to actually put themselves at risk to do what he says.
Yeah. And they're going to do it.
And these are largely Republican-led states. Is that what this is?
They are. They are.
Our president caught it.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't real enough for him?
Yeah. But they think because, again, they're too simple to realize. The president gets better health care. You don't have 8 doctors to you. He had 8 doctors to him, and they said he was bad. Pumped him with every drug in the world.
They threw the kitchen sink at him.
You're not getting that same treatment. And they're like, he's such a man. He got over it. Like, bruh.
No.
They gave him stuff that's illegal to give to people. Like,
the experimental stuff. Stuff that they reserve for presidents.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe the Congress people, I think they got vaccinated a long time ago.
Oh yeah. And you heard that Trump and Melania got vaccinated in January. But they didn't tell nobody.
But they got sick.
This is before they
okay.
This is after.
Okay.
So January before they left office, they both got vaccinated. but you notice they didn't go out and tell nobody.
No.
Hey, we got vaccinated.
Because that would have made it more real.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they were all sick is enough reality. Should be for most people.
It should be. But it seems like we're going to be in this thing for a while. But states are starting to open up more and more, slowly but surely.
Ty seems to think California is going to do what Texas is doing. They better not. They got a problem.
No, California's going to stay closed. They're going to stay closed, but their cases are high.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not. They're going to open to a certain degree, but not too much. I think Newsom's feeling some heat because some of the Republicans there that just won the Congress are starting to put some pressure on them.
On who?
On the governor of California about opening up because they want everything open. There's what they're saying is that we were under quarantine for a whole year and it's not getting any better. That's because people aren't doing what they're supposed to do.
Right. So then they're saying you might as well go ahead and take all the limits off and let everybody get sick.
Yeah, just take the limits off and whatever happens.
That's just dumb. You know what that is? That's pubescent logic. I tell you what I mean by that. So your mom tells you got to be in by 11. So you decide at this rate, you're not going to get there till 11:30. So you might as well stay out till 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Yep.
Like it's not going to get worse.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
I know. Coming in at 11:15 is different than coming in at 4 o'clock.
Who are you telling?
You late still, but it ain't gonna be as bad. It's like
15 minutes late. They might call downstairs and say, "You home?" Yes.
Yeah.
3 o'clock in the morning, somebody's sitting in the living room.
Yep.
And it's not to have a conversation.
Absolutely.
Or, like my family would do to you, your key wouldn't work.
Yep. You lock that door.
Nah,
staying
key
out.
would work. Put that deadbolt on. That was it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and you got a dilemma because if you're not,
yep,
that means you got to wake everybody up. That's worse.
Yep. Absolutely.
If you don't knock and get in, you're still in trouble.
Yep. You gonna break in my house?
Oh, buddy.
That's everything. But this would be something. So I know California's opening up like outdoor dining, and like you said, some of Disney World, but places like Texas and all of them, they're full on open. Like
I think New Jersey's making a mistake because I saw some statistics the other day that gyms were the #1 place now where it is where infections are high.
Absolutely.
And that has always made sense to me. But people that go to gyms have kind of rationalized that, it's only in the air and I got a mask on. No, you got people's bodies touching the machines and nobody's, and you're breathing. So it's like 6 different ways you can get exposed in the gym. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then even the masks aren't 100%. And now everybody wears a mask in there. Look, I see some people, they go to the gym. I stay away from them. I just
Yes, sir.
wait from a distance.
Yes, sir.
I'll wait from a distance.
I just think it's a numbers game, Pastor Nick.
It is.
I think it's a numbers game because you can't control who you're around is around.
Yeah.
It's numbers. You can't control it. So you got to keep it. You know, we've been really over the top about minimizing our circle.
Yeah.
But I think you have to be.
Absolutely. You have to. Look, y'all, it's starting to get warm outside. Y'all start walking when it starts getting warmer outside. Like I'm just not going back. People ask me, I'm not going back to the gym. I'll walk outside. I'll do some stuff in the house.
My trainer knows not to even call me.
Yeah.
I'm not going back up in the gym.
Nope.
Too many careless people.
Yeah.
Too many folk that think, you know, I'm going to do what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, and gyms were dirty before COVID, so you know,
Absolutely,
you know, they ain't doing that.
Absolutely. Wow, it's 10 o'clock already.
Yeah, it went fast. Don't forget to join us. We got Emerge tonight at 6. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock service. We got 9:45 starts our Engage time. Discussion at 10. Of course, Engage live time right after. And don't forget, if you join the church from the past couple months, we have our orientation tomorrow at 5 o'clock before communion. Bishop will be hosting it. If you need a link to the Zoom for the orientation tomorrow, email social@gotobethany.com. Again, that's social@gotobethany.com. And we can get the link to you at 5 o'clock tomorrow. Communion is at 6, of course. And yeah.
Look forward to seeing you.
Yeah.
Those of you that are coming to the orientation at 5 tomorrow.
Yep.
Look forward to the time we spend together before the communion celebration.
Yep. At
6 o'clock. So that's it's always a good time.
Yep. Oh, and don't forget we're in our intercession challenge.
That's right.
Every day is a day to intercede for somebody else.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So if you haven't gotten a calendar, it's on our website. It's on all our social media pages. Download it. Let's intercede and watch God do some great things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Yep.
This has been On Point, the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America.
Yep.
Live at David G. Evans 1 every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Please tell somebody about us and join us. Ask you to also join us on Facebook. Follow us on Facebook. And you can get at David G. Evans 1 or Bishop David G. Evans. Follow us on YouTube and subscribe. We have some great content we're continually producing.
Yeah.
Keep your faith strong. Grow your wisdom. Improve your ability not only to handle your present, but get ready for your future. So
yeah,
we look forward to talking to you real soon. And remember, faith acts like a thing is so, even when it's not so, that it might be so. God bless you. And we'll see you next time.